Hey everyone, my name is Austin, and welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered Thoughts with Austin. If you are just tuning in for the first time, I would encourage you to click off of this episode and go and listen to the first episode titled The Art in Finding Happiness in the Unlikely, Part 1. Please tune into this episode once you're finished with the previous one. Today, I am thrilled to continue our journey together and exploring those little and big moments that bring light into our lives, especially during tough times. This is part two of a two-part episode where we dive deep into the personal anecdotes shared by you guys, stories filled with resilience and transformation, and most importantly, joy. Let's start with a little reminder of the psychological benefits of focusing on the positives in our lives. Research shows that when we actively seek out the silver lining in our experiences, we can significantly boost our mental well-being. It's a skill we can all develop. The act of shifting our perspectives from what's wrong to what's right, from what we've lost to what remains, is a practice that not only uplifts us, but also inspires those around us. Today, we're not just recounting stories of struggle, we're celebrating the triumphs that arise from them. And speaking of triumphs, let's dive into the first story, a powerful testament to resilience and hope. Life can throw us curveballs that leave us feeling lost and overwhelmed. But as we'll discover together, those very challenges can lead to unexpected opportunities and even silver linings that we never saw coming. I'd love to share a listener story that beautifully illustrates this point. Lindsay wrote to me about when her mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. Initially, it felt like the end of the world. Fear and uncertainty clouded her thoughts. She didn't know what would have happened if she lost her mom. She trusted God that he would heal her. Uh, But over time, she started creating these scenarios in her head about the situation that ultimately dug her into a deep depressive hole. But as time went on, she decided that enough was enough. She said she leaned on the support of her friends and family around her and asked them all to pray that God would heal her mom. God eventually healed her mom, and now she says she's cancer free. What got Lindsay through this tough experience was the fact that she had countless people to lean on. She had daily devotionals and went on the occasional prayer walk. She said she found gratitude in being comfortable about asking people for help and receiving help, as well as knowing that God was always going to be there for her. And all she had to do was spend time with people that God brought into her life, as well as God Himself. She expressed how this experience taught her the importance of leaning on family, friends, and God, an incredibly uplifting reminder that sometimes when life gives us challenges, we can always lean on friends, family, and God for more support. Before we dive into some practical tips, let me ask you this. Have you ever found joy in an unexpected place? Stability. But think about it. When we let go of the need to control every aspect of our lives, we open ourselves up to new experiences that can lead to happiness. Here are some practical tips for embracing uncertainty with open arms. First of all, we need to practice mindfulness. Engage in mindfulness practices like meditation or deep breathing techniques. This can help ground you in the present moment and reduce anxiety about the future. And secondly, let's create a flexibility mindset. Instead of rigid plans, try to cultivate a mindset that welcomes flexibility. Allow yourself to pivot and adapt. This can lead to creativity and innovation in your thinking. And then let's celebrate small wins. Focus on the little victories in your day-to-day life, whether it's finishing a book or discovering a new favorite recipe. These moments matter. Let's cultivate gratitude. Keep a gratitude journal. By regularly writing down what you're thankful for, you'll start to shift your focus away from what's uncertain to what's abundant in your life. And then lastly, connect with others. Share your feelings and experiences with friends or family. You'll often find that you're not alone in your uncertainties, and there's comfort in community. Speaking of community, gratitude plays a huge role in strengthening our bonds with others. I want to highlight some incredible stories we've received about people coming together during hardships. It's truly inspiring how adversity often brings out the best in humanity. Another touching story comes from Cole. For Cole's entire life, he lived a very healthy and athletic lifestyle. He said he was in the best shape of his life when he was about 24 years old. Well, one day he said he was squatting at the gym and a disc in his back pinched the sciatic nerve. He said that due to the injury, he endured daily pain. He could barely put his socks and shoes on. Sometimes, some time had passed and he thought he was healed from his injury. So he went to play some basketball, and when he jumped up to make a basket, he said he felt something really bad, and when he landed, he felt something even worse. He said the next morning he couldn't even walk. The pain from his sciatic nerve went from his lower back to his hip, to his hamstring and his calf, and at some time he said the pain would reach his foot. He said he was bed rest for an entire summer. From living a super active lifestyle to being bed rest, it was a shock. It was horrible. It was a horrible experience for him. He said he couldn't even go to the bathroom and shower without pain. After a while with physical therapy, he felt better physically, but emotionally, he said he was crushed because that summer he had signed up to be a leader at a church summer camp. He said he was still able to go, but he had to drive everywhere and couldn't participate in much or anything at all. He said that during worship, he couldn't even stand to praise God, and that was devastating for him. He felt like he was letting God down at the moment. But the one thing that got him through it was a good set of friends. He said they were rallied beside him. One of them told Cole that he didn't have to stand up to worship God. You can worship God right where you are, and he will receive it just as much. In that moment, Cole recounts just sitting down and lifting his hands during a song. Similarly, our next story comes from Nicole, and similarly to Cole, it highlights navigating pain and loss, only this time it's an emotional struggle rather than a physical one. Back in 2018, she lost her grandmother to dementia and Alzheimer's. At first, she said she didn't know how to feel because she was feeling so many emotions and they were conflicting with each other. She said she and her grandma weren't particularly close, but at the same time, she often felt like she lost someone that she could have had a whole life with. Nicole had a lot of things in common with her grandma, like art and music. She says she even felt lost on how to mourn her and felt even worse with the advice she was given. Would often hear things like stay busy and try not to dwell in any sad feelings so you don't fall into depression and waste time. Or she's no longer with us, so she's no longer suffering. So don't be sad anymore. And it's in the past now. She said she found herself torn up by the thought of what it meant to have lost her grandma before really even getting too close to her. She said she was grateful for her close friend and his words of comfort and advice. The advice he gave her was that it's okay to sit with her feelings, allow herself to cry, and see God. She said that in her time of distress, she was thankful for his faith and found his understanding of her pain and sadness to help her find peace with her grandma's passing. She said she's grateful for him and uses that same advice today and shares it with others. As we reflect on these stories, let's remember that tough times can lead to remarkable transformations, not just for ourselves, but for the communities we inhabit. It's during those difficult seasons that we often discover the greatest depths of our strengths and the warmth of human connection. To every one of you who is listening to this, your experiences are invaluable. And by sharing them, we can inspire one another and build a tapestry of resilience that we can all draw from. As we wrap up today's episode, let's take a moment to celebrate those delightful moments of joy that come with that come when we least expect them. Whether it's a kind word from a friend or a community of people rallying together beside each other and being there for a friend in need of some support or whatever it might be. Let's remember that happiness often lies just around the corner. Thank you for joining me on this journey today. I hope you feel inspired to look for the silver linings in your life to embrace the joys that come from uncertainty. Join me next week as I dive deep into the nuanced distinction between loneliness and solitude. As we navigate a world increasingly shaped by social media, feelings of isolation can easily creep in, often blurring lines between being alone and feeling lonely. Join me as we explore the psychological benefits of embracing solitude, share practical tips for carving out intentional quiet time, and discover how to transform some feelings of loneliness into opportunities for meaningful connections. Whether you're seeking peace in stillness or looking to cultivate deeper relationships with others, this episode will equip you with the tools to foster a healthier mindset around your personal space and social interactions. Tune in for another unfiltered conversation that encourages reflection and growth. Until next time, stay authentic and keep seeking fresh perspectives.